Ladies and gentlemen, today I stand before you not just as a woman, but as a symbol of strength, resilience, and unyielding willpower. Now, I know the title of this speech might make you curious. You know why people call me Iron Lady. Well, let me take you on a journey that will reveal the essence of why people use this title and why perhaps I am more than just an Iron Lady. I wasn't always this strong. The road to this stage wasn't paved with perfection, nor was it easy. Life, like everyone's, threw unexpected challenges my way, and for a long time I didn't know how to face them. I had my moments of doubt, of feeling small, of feeling like the world was too heavy to carry. But every challenge became a stepping stone, and with every fall, I learned how to rise again. I wasn't born with the power to overcome obstacles. No one is. The truth is, we all start somewhere vulnerable, unsure, and sometimes afraid. But we are also born with something powerful within us, the choice to push forward no matter what. And that, my friends, is where the Iron Lady begins. Some may see a woman in a wheelchair, but what they fail to see is the fire in her heart. What they fail to see is the determination behind every smile, the courage behind every step, and the unwavering strength in every decision to live fully despite what life threw at her. You see, being called Iron Lady isn't just about toughness. It's about breaking barriers. It's about turning weaknesses into strengths. It's about showing up every day even when the odds are stacked against you. I am the product of countless moments of choosing to be strong, even when I didn't know how. I am the product of understanding that every scar, every struggle, every fall has a purpose to make me stronger. But let me tell you, this being Iron Lady isn't about never feeling pain. It's not about pretending like everything is okay when it's not. It's about embracing the pain, learning from it, and using it to fuel the journey forward. It's about showing that strength is not about never breaking. It's about knowing how to put the pieces back together and still rise with grace. Strength, my friends, is in the way we stand up after falling, in the way we laugh despite the tears, and in the way we fight not for the world to see us strong, but because we know that our spirit is capable of achieving the impossible. People may call me the Iron Lady, but I am also a woman full of compassion, empathy, and love. These qualities are just as powerful as the iron that others see. They are what help me lift others along with me, and they are what fuel my purpose. So why do people call me the Iron Lady? It's because they see someone who refuses to give up, who turns challenges into triumphs, who chooses to be her own hero. And every one of you has the same strength within you. Remember, you don't need a title to be strong. You need the courage to face whatever life throws your way, and the grace to rise time and time again. You need the belief that you can be just as ironclad as anyone else, no matter your circumstances. Keynote NO.5 expanded into 750 words. Don't add ending sentences. Don't add any heading. Strength is built through overcoming challenges, not avoiding them. Life, as we all know, is unpredictable. We wake up each day not entirely certain what will unfold. Whether it's the joy of new beginnings or the sorrow of unforeseen endings, the truth remains that challenges are inevitable. They are the constant companions in our journey, often appearing when we least expect them, and sometimes when we feel most unprepared. Yet these challenges hold the key to building the strength that defines who we are. Strength is not simply about being able to lift heavy weights or run long distances. It is not found in the muscles we show off or the feats we perform for others to see. True strength is built quietly in the corners of our lives during moments of adversity, when the world seems to be against us. It is not the absence of difficulty, but the ability to keep moving forward in spite of it. When we face difficulties, it is tempting to shy away, to find refuge in the comfort of what we know, or to pretend that the problem does not exist. However, avoidance does not bring strength, it only delays the inevitable. Strength is forged when we confront our struggles head-on, when we allow ourselves to feel the weight of the situation and decide to push through anyway. It is in those moments when we feel like giving up that we are presented with the greatest opportunity to grow. Strength is not about being unshakable, but about learning how to stand tall despite the tremors. Take, for example, the story of someone who has faced immense personal loss. The pain of losing a loved one can feel unbearable, a weight that drags down every part of our being. We may try to distract ourselves, to hide away from the truth of what has happened, but no matter how much we avoid it, the grief will still remain. It is only when we allow ourselves to grieve fully, to feel the sorrow without resistance, that we start to heal. Strength, in this case, is not about holding everything in, but acknowledging the pain and giving ourselves permission to process it. By doing so, we begin to build resilience, not by running from the pain, but by facing it head-on. Similarly, in moments of failure, we may be tempted to throw in the towel. When a project falls apart, when a dream slips through our fingers, or when we are faced with the aftermath of our own mistakes, the easiest thing to do is walk away. But true strength is found when we choose to learn from these experiences. Failure is not the end, it is simply a part of the process. In fact, failure often teaches us more than success ever could. It shows us where we went wrong, where we can improve, and most importantly, it teaches us how to try again. Strength is about embracing failure, not as a defeat, but as a stepping stone towards something better. Every failure holds a lesson, and each lesson builds the foundation for greater resilience in the future. Another powerful way to build strength is by facing our fears. Fear is something that we all experience, whether it's the fear of failure, rejection, the unknown, or even fear of success. But if we let fear control our decisions, we will never grow. Avoiding fear may provide temporary comfort, but it ultimately keeps us in a stagnant place, never allowing us to reach our full potential. Strength is found when we choose to face our fears, not run from them. It is in those moments when we step out of our comfort zones that we learn what we are truly capable of. The more we face our fears, the less power they hold over us. Over time, we begin to see fear not as something to avoid, but as an opportunity to grow and evolve. Overcoming challenges doesn't mean we have to do it alone. Sometimes strength is built through seeking help, sharing our burdens with others, and finding support in our communities. There is strength in vulnerability, in admitting that we cannot always handle everything on our own. It takes courage to ask for help, to lean on others when we feel weak. But in doing so, we not only find the strength to persevere, but we also build connections with others. These connections create a sense of belonging, a shared understanding of the human experience, and a support system that helps us carry our burdens. Through others, we find our own strength reflected back at us. Building strength also involves cultivating patience. In a world that thrives on instant gratification, it's easy to think that we should achieve success and happiness immediately. But true strength is found in the ability to endure. It's about trusting the process, knowing that good things take time. When we face challenges, there is often no quick fix, no easy solution. It requires us to trust that, even though we may not see the results right away, our efforts will pay off eventually. Patience teaches us to keep going, even when the road ahead seems long and uncertain. By enduring, we become more resilient, more capable of facing future challenges with greater confidence. Strength is also built through self-reflection. In the midst of struggle, it's easy to get caught up in the emotions of the moment, to react impulsively, and to let our circumstances define us. But true strength is cultivated when we take a step back and reflect on the situation from a place of clarity. When we give ourselves the space to understand our feelings, to process our thoughts, and to evaluate the choices we've made, we begin to grow. Self-reflection allows us to gain insight into our strengths and weaknesses, to learn from our experiences, and to adjust our approach moving forward. It is through self-reflection that we can make better decisions, take more deliberate actions, and approach challenges with a clearer mindset. The beauty of building strength through challenges is that it is not a linear process. There will be ups and downs, moments of progress and moments of regression. It's important to remember that setbacks are not failures, they are simply a part of the journey. Every time we stumble, we have an opportunity to rise again. Strength is not measured by how many times we fall, but by how many times we get back up. Each time we get back up, we grow stronger. We build resilience with every challenge we face, with every obstacle we overcome, and with every decision we make to keep moving forward. In the end, the challenges we face are not meant to break us. They are the tools that shape us, that mold us into the people we are meant to become. Strength is not something we are born with, it is something we create. It is forged through our willingness to face adversity, to learn from failure, to confront our fears, and to persevere when the world seems too heavy to bear. It is in those moments of struggle that we become our truest selves, the versions of us who are unbreakable, who can handle anything life throws their way. Avoidance may offer temporary relief, but only through overcoming challenges do we truly build the strength that lasts a lifetime. When we face difficulty, when we embrace the struggle, we find that we are capable of far more than we ever imagined. And in doing so, we emerge stronger, wiser, and more prepared for whatever comes next. Resilience is found in rising after each fall, learning from pain. Life is not a linear path. It is a winding road filled with twists and turns, peaks and valleys. We all experience moments of joy and triumph, but inevitably there will be moments of hardship and struggle. It is during these difficult times that our true strength is tested. Resilience, the ability to rise after each fall, is not something we are born with. It is something we cultivate through our experiences and how we respond to them. When we face a challenge, it often feels as though everything is falling apart. Our dreams seem distant, our goals unreachable, and the obstacles in our path appear insurmountable. In those moments, it is easy to feel defeated, to believe that we are incapable of moving forward. But it is precisely in these moments of despair that we are presented with the opportunity to discover our resilience. The choice to rise, despite the odds, is what defines us. Resilience doesn't mean that we are unaffected by pain or difficulty. It doesn't mean that we are immune to the weight of hardship. On the contrary, resilience is built through our capacity to endure pain, to feel the sting of failure, and to allow ourselves to grieve and process those emotions. It is about acknowledging the hurt, but refusing to let it define us. When we rise after each fall, we allow ourselves to learn from the experience, to grow stronger, and to move forward with greater wisdom and resolve. Learning from pain is an essential part of the process. Pain is not something to be avoided or suppressed. It's a powerful teacher. When we experience pain, whether physical, emotional, or mental, it forces us to confront our vulnerabilities. It exposes our weaknesses, our fears, and our limitations. But it also provides us with the opportunity to reflect, to ask ourselves difficult questions, and to find ways to grow stronger. Every setback, every failure, every loss carries with it a lesson. It may take time to see it, but each experience, no matter how painful, is an opportunity for growth. For example, think of a person who has faced failure in their career. Perhaps they put in years of hard work, only to see their efforts go unrewarded. The pain of failure can be crushing, especially when we have invested so much of ourselves into a goal. But if we allow that failure to define us, if we let it convince us that we are not good enough or capable enough, we miss the lesson that it has to offer. True resilience is found when we pick ourselves up after failure, when we take a step back, assess the situation, and learn what we can from it. Maybe the failure reveals areas where we need to improve, or perhaps it shows us that our original path wasn't the right one, but it always teaches us something valuable. Similarly, when we experience emotional pain, whether from a broken relationship, the loss of a loved one, or personal disappointment, the healing process can feel agonizing. The emotional scars may run deep, and it may seem as though the pain will never end. But resilience is not about erasing that pain or pretending it doesn't exist. It is about allowing ourselves to feel it fully and then choosing to heal one step at a time. Healing is not a straight line, and there will be days when the pain feels overwhelming. However, with each day that we face the pain head on, we grow stronger. We learn how to carry the weight, how to find peace in the midst of turmoil, and how to rebuild ourselves from the inside out. What's important to remember is that resilience is not about never falling. We all stumble, we all fail, and we all experience moments when we feel like giving up. But resilience is found in the decision to rise each time we fall. It is in those moments when we refuse to stay down, when we push ourselves to stand up again, that our strength is built. The more we rise, the stronger we become. The more we learn from our pain, the more equipped we are to face future challenges with confidence. Another key aspect of resilience is the ability to adapt. Life rarely goes according to plan, and the ability to adjust and pivot when things don't go as expected is crucial. When we face an obstacle or encounter an unexpected setback, it's natural to feel disoriented or frustrated. But resilience requires us to embrace change, to be flexible, and to find new ways to approach our goals. It's about accepting that the road ahead may not be the one we initially imagined, but that doesn't mean we can't find a new way forward. Resilience is the ability to adapt to life's changes and to continue moving toward our dreams even when the path isn't clear. Resilience also involves having faith in ourselves, even when things seem bleak. It's about trusting that we have the inner strength to overcome any challenge, even if we can't see the way forward in the moment. This self-belief is not about arrogance or denial of our vulnerabilities. It's about recognizing that we have already survived countless challenges before, and we are more than capable of handling whatever comes next. Each time we rise from a fall, we build a deeper trust in ourselves and our abilities. This trust becomes the foundation upon which we can face any adversity, knowing that we have the resilience to weather any storm. In moments of difficulty, it is important to remember that resilience doesn't always mean pushing through on our own. Sometimes resilience is found in asking for help, in sharing our struggles with others, and in leaning on the support of our loved ones. It takes strength to acknowledge when we need assistance, and the willingness to receive support can be a crucial part of the healing process. Resilience is not about isolating ourselves, but about recognizing that we don't have to carry our burdens alone. By allowing others to walk beside us, we gain strength, and together we can rise higher. Ultimately, resilience is a continuous journey, not a destination. It's not about reaching a point where we are impervious to pain or failure. It's about learning how to navigate life's challenges with grace and strength. It is a lifelong practice of rising after each fall, learning from each setback, and growing stronger with every experience. As we face life's difficulties, we discover that resilience is not only about surviving, it's about thriving in the face of adversity. True power lies in embracing vulnerability and turning it into strength. There is a common misconception that strength is synonymous with toughness, that to be powerful one must be unbreakable, unfeeling, and unaffected by life's challenges. Society often praises the outward displays of strength, people who appear invincible, who face adversity with a stoic demeanor and a sense of control. But true strength is not about shutting down our emotions or hiding our vulnerabilities. In fact, true power lies in the opposite, embracing vulnerability and using it as a source of strength. Vulnerability, by definition, is the state of being exposed to harm or the possibility of being hurt. It is a space where we are raw, open, and honest with ourselves and others. It is when we allow ourselves to be seen for who we truly are, with all our imperfections, fears, and uncertainties. And while it can feel uncomfortable to expose our inner selves to the world, vulnerability is not a sign of weakness. It is a profound expression of courage. It takes immense strength to be vulnerable because it requires us to relinquish control, to acknowledge that we do not have all the answers, and to be willing to face the unknown. When we embrace vulnerability, we allow ourselves to experience life more fully. We no longer live in the protective shell of denial or emotional armor. We open ourselves to the full range of human experience, the joy, the pain, the love, and the heartache. In doing so, we also create deeper connections with others. Vulnerability fosters authentic relationships because it is through vulnerability that we connect with others on a meaningful level. When we allow ourselves to be seen, we invite others to do the same, creating an environment of trust, empathy, and understanding. But embracing vulnerability doesn't mean we have to remain in a place of weakness or passivity. Vulnerability is not about being a victim or letting others take advantage of us. It is about recognizing and owning our emotions, our needs, and our truths. It is about speaking up for ourselves, setting boundaries, and asking for help when we need it. It is about acknowledging our fears and doubts, but refusing to let them dictate our actions. Vulnerability empowers us to take control of our narrative, to choose how we respond to the challenges life presents, rather than letting those challenges define us. The act of embracing vulnerability also involves letting go of the fear of judgment. Many of us are afraid to be vulnerable because we fear that others will see our weaknesses and use them against us. We fear rejection, criticism, or even abandonment. This fear often leads us to build walls around our hearts, to hide our true selves behind masks of perfection or invulnerability. However, when we live in constant fear of judgment, we disconnect from the world around us. We stop living authentically and start living in a way that is dictated by the opinions of others. Embracing vulnerability means letting go of this fear and choosing to show up as our true selves, regardless of how others may perceive us. When we stop worrying about being judged, we free ourselves to experience life with honesty and integrity. In addition, embracing vulnerability allows us to transform our pain into power. Every person at some point in their life faces challenges that test their limits, whether it's the loss of a loved one, a failed relationship, a personal failure, or a period of self-doubt. In these moments, it is easy to feel as though we are broken or incapable of moving forward. But it is through vulnerability that we can begin to heal. By allowing ourselves to grieve, to feel the pain, and to acknowledge the hurt, we create the space needed for healing to occur. We cannot move past our pain if we do not first confront it. When we allow ourselves to be vulnerable in the face of pain, we reclaim our power, transforming our wounds into wisdom. We learn to navigate life with a greater sense of compassion, both for ourselves and for others. Moreover, vulnerability is a catalyst for personal growth. It is in those moments when we open ourselves up to new experiences, new ideas, and new people that we truly expand our capacity for growth. Vulnerability challenges us to step outside our comfort zones, to take risks, and to face the unknown. It pushes us to break free from the limitations we place on ourselves and to explore new possibilities. Every time we embrace vulnerability, we are faced with the opportunity to become better versions of ourselves. Whether it is through taking on a new challenge, speaking our truth, or confronting our fears, vulnerability encourages us to grow beyond what we thought was possible. When we view vulnerability as a strength, we begin to see it as an essential part of our journey towards self-discovery and empowerment. It becomes a tool that allows us to break free from the constraints of perfectionism and to live more authentically. It encourages us to embrace our imperfections and to see them not as flaws, but as unique aspects of who we are. Vulnerability reminds us that we are human, and being human means we are not invincible or perfect. It is our imperfections that make us relatable, compassionate, and capable of forming meaningful connections with others. The power in embracing vulnerability also lies in its ability to foster resilience. When we allow ourselves to be vulnerable, we build the emotional resilience needed to face future challenges. Vulnerability teaches us that it's okay to fail, to make mistakes, and to fall down as long as we continue to rise again. It teaches us that we do not need to have all the answers, and that it is okay to seek help and support from others. Vulnerability strengthens our ability to persevere because it reinforces the belief that we are enough, even in our moments of weakness or uncertainty. Being strong is not about perfection, but about perseverance and grace. Strength is often misunderstood. When we think of strength, we tend to imagine an unyielding force, an unwavering commitment to perfection, and an ability to overcome any challenge without faltering. We envision someone who never shows weakness, who faces adversity without breaking down, and who moves through life with relentless drive and determination. However, the reality of strength is far more complex. True strength isn't about being perfect or always having everything under control. It's about persevering through life's challenges with grace, about pushing forward even when the path is unclear, and about handling adversity with dignity and resilience. In a world that often equates success with flawless execution, it's easy to feel inadequate when we inevitably stumble. Many of us set impossibly high standards for ourselves, expecting perfection in every aspect of our lives, our careers, our relationships, and even our personal growth. This desire for perfection can become a heavy burden, weighing us down with self-criticism, fear of failure, and the constant pressure to be better. But perfection is a myth. It is an unattainable standard that only leads to frustration and self-doubt. But the truth is, strength lies not in achieving perfection, but in accepting our imperfections and learning to grow despite them. The pursuit of perfection can be paralyzing. We become so focused on avoiding mistakes that we may refuse to take risks or step outside our comfort zones. We convince ourselves that if we can't do something perfectly, we shouldn't do it at all. This mindset stifles growth, limits our potential, and prevents us from experiencing life fully. True strength, however, comes from embracing the idea that failure and imperfection are not the end of the road, they are part of the journey. Every mistake, every setback, and every moment of imperfection is an opportunity for growth. Strength is found in our ability to keep going despite these imperfections, to learn from them, and to use them as stepping stones to greater wisdom and resilience. Perseverance is the key to unlocking this strength. Perseverance is the ability to keep moving forward, even when the road ahead is difficult or uncertain. It's about refusing to give up when things get tough, knowing that every step, no matter how small, brings us closer to our goal. Perseverance isn't about being perfect, it's about persistence, determination, and the will to keep trying no matter how many times we fail. It's about showing up every day, doing the best we can, and trusting that progress will come, even if it doesn't happen overnight. In many ways, perseverance is like a muscle. It grows stronger the more we use it. When we face challenges, we often have two choices: we can give up or we can keep going. The easy choice is to quit, to walk away when things get tough. But when we choose perseverance, we tap into a deeper well of strength. Every time we push through, we build resilience. Every time we refuse to give up, we grow in confidence. Over time, this perseverance becomes second nature, and we begin to see setbacks as temporary obstacles, not insurmountable barriers. Yet perseverance alone is not enough. To truly embody strength, we must also carry ourselves with grace. Grace is the ability to navigate life's challenges with dignity, kindness, and composure. It is about facing adversity with an open heart, allowing ourselves to feel the pain and frustration, but choosing to respond with empathy, patience, and understanding. Grace is not about avoiding difficult emotions or pretending that everything is fine. It is about acknowledging those emotions and choosing to rise above them in a way that is compassionate, both toward ourselves and others. Grace allows us to handle failure without letting it define us. It helps us to forgive ourselves when we make mistakes, to extend kindness to ourselves when we feel inadequate, and to move through life's challenges with a sense of calm and acceptance. When we approach life with grace, we acknowledge that we are human, that we will fall short at times, but that we are worthy of love, respect, and kindness, regardless of our imperfections. Grace is not about excusing our flaws, but about accepting them as part of who we are without judgment or self-recrimination. Furthermore, grace allows us to show kindness to others even when they too are struggling. It is easy to become frustrated or judgmental when others don't meet our expectations, but grace teaches us to respond with understanding and compassion. We all face battles that others cannot see, and grace encourages us to be patient with those who may be struggling in ways we don't understand. In doing so, we not only extend compassion to others, but also build deeper, more meaningful connections. We learn that strength is not only about enduring our own challenges, but also about offering support to others when they need it. True strength, then, is a balance of perseverance and grace. It's the ability to keep going, no matter how many times we stumble, while also carrying ourselves with dignity and compassion. Strength is not measured by how flawlessly we navigate life's challenges, but by our ability to rise each time we fall, to learn from our mistakes, and to move forward with a sense of grace. Perfection is not the goal. Progress is, and as we continue on our journey, we learn that the greatest strength lies not in avoiding failure, but in finding the courage to keep going, even when we don't have all the answers, and in treating ourselves and others with the kindness and compassion we all deserve. Strength is not about silencing your fears, but finding the courage to face them head on. Fear is a natural and inevitable part of life. Everyone, regardless of their circumstances or experiences, has moments when they feel afraid, anxious, or uncertain. Fear, however, is often misunderstood. Many people believe that strength means being fearless, that true power lies in the ability to walk through life without hesitation or doubt. We live in a world that glorifies confidence and dismisses vulnerability, where individuals who appear fearless are admired and those who express fear are sometimes seen as weak. Yet, in reality, true strength is not found in the absence of fear, but in the ability to face it head on, to confront it with courage and determination. Fear is often rooted in the unknown. It arises when we are faced with situations or decisions that challenge us, when we step outside our comfort zones, or when we are confronted with something new or unfamiliar. Fear can paralyze us, preventing us from moving forward or making decisions. It can make us question our abilities, our worth, and our potential. It is easy to give in to fear, to let it dictate our actions, to avoid the things that scare us in the hope of keeping ourselves safe from harm. But avoiding fear does not make it go away. It only allows it to grow, to build walls around us, and to limit our possibilities. Strength is not about eliminating fear from our lives. It is about learning how to navigate it. Fear can be a powerful motivator, a signal that we are on the brink of growth or change. It can serve as a reminder that we are pushing the boundaries of our comfort zones, that we are challenging ourselves to evolve and expand. Rather than seeing fear as an obstacle, we can choose to view it as an invitation to take action, to embrace new experiences, and to overcome the limitations we have placed on ourselves. When we acknowledge fear, rather than running from it, we are better equipped to face it head-on. Facing fear requires courage, and courage does not mean the absence of fear. Courage is the willingness to act in the presence of fear, to keep moving forward even when we feel uncertain. It is about taking that first step even when the outcome is unclear, knowing that the path may be difficult, but trusting that we are capable of navigating it. Courage is not something we are born with, it is a skill that we develop through experience. Every time we face our fears, no matter how small the step, we build our courage. Each time we confront the unknown, we learn that we are stronger than we realized, and that fear does not have the power to control us. When we choose to face our fears, we begin to discover our true potential. Fear often holds us back from pursuing our dreams or going after what we truly desire. It convinces us that we are not good enough, that we will fail, or that the risk is too great. But when we confront those fears, we break free from their grip. We realize that the worst-case scenario is often not as bad as we imagined, and that failure is not the end, but an opportunity for growth and learning. By taking that leap of faith, we open ourselves up to new opportunities, new experiences, and new possibilities. Fear can only control us if we allow it to. When we decide to face it, we take back our power. Facing our fears is not always easy, and it's important to acknowledge that fear can be overwhelming at times. The process of confronting fear can be gradual, and there may be moments when we stumble or feel overwhelmed by doubt. But this is where the strength of perseverance comes in. When we face fear, we may not always feel confident, but we can take small steps forward. Each time we challenge ourselves to push past our fears, we build resilience. Even when we fail or fall short, we gain valuable lessons that help us to grow. Fear, when confronted with persistence, becomes a teacher rather than an enemy. One of the most powerful aspects of facing fear is the opportunity it gives us to redefine our limits. We often place boundaries on ourselves based on our past experiences or the expectations of others. Fear reinforces these limits, convincing us that we are not capable of doing more or achieving greater things. But when we challenge these limits, when we confront our fears head-on, we expand our possibilities. We realize that we are capable of much more than we thought. Our capacity for strength and resilience is far greater than we often give ourselves credit for. Another key aspect of facing fear is the role it plays in building self-trust. When we choose to confront our fears, we are making a commitment to ourselves. We are telling ourselves that we are capable, that we trust our own abilities, and that we have the strength to navigate whatever comes our way. Every time we face our fears, we prove to ourselves that we can handle whatever life throws at us. This builds a deep sense of self-belief and confidence that carries us forward in all areas of our lives. The more we trust ourselves to face fear, the more we trust ourselves in other areas as well. It is important to recognize that facing fear does not always mean taking grand, sweeping actions. Sometimes the greatest acts of courage come in small, everyday moments. It may be the courage to speak up for yourself when you feel unheard, the courage to ask for help when you need it, or the courage to take a small step toward a goal that has felt too intimidating. Fear does not always appear in dramatic moments. It can show up in subtle ways, and sometimes the most powerful thing we can do is to acknowledge it and take a small action in the face of it. Every step forward, no matter how small, is a victory over fear. In the end, strength is not about being fearless. It is about learning to face our fears, to grow through them, and to allow them to propel us forward. Fear will always be a part of our lives, but it does not have to define us. When we find the courage to confront our fears, we unlock our true potential and discover a strength within ourselves that we never knew existed. Fear may never fully disappear, but by facing it, we transform it from a source of paralysis into a catalyst for growth and empowerment.